Well, I didn't notice till now that, I was wearing my Kofi Mania shirt, and the fact that, I literally just looked at my phone and said, okay, pick one random theme song that I could find, the first one I find, and play use that for my introduction. Well, it was Samoa Joe's, and I was never used Samoa Joe's theme really before for an entrance, and I thought it was kind of appropriate that I'm wearing my Kofi Mania shirt today. But guys, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are NXT. Of course, I put the towel over my, this is just a small little towel, more like a rag, I gotta say, or washcloth. I don't know. Put it on my shoulder because get Samoa Joe to come to the ring with a towel around his neck. We are NXT because this is the final of this long, 6-week journey I think I've been doing with some of my top 10 best of NXT, basically. As again, with the WWE product been in a big slump lately, we need some positivity on this channel. And of course, NXT, has always brought us positivity in, a good way, a great way, an amazing way, an awesome way, and a legendary way. Meaning that the fact that I look back at recently, of course, I did my NXT retro review series, and I look back and I laid out all the TakeOver reviews and all grades I have put in for them, and seeing what again. I never gave any NXT TakeOver anything lower than a B, because all the shows I thought were great, they're good. There was some rebuilding stages. There were some good, some weak ones as well, but they weren't weak as in bad. It's just like they just weren't the strongest out of the ones we've seen. So then, of course, it comes to this finale of this NXT top 10 specials. And of course, we're not going to be doing 4 lists again. I'm not going to be talking about every single one of them, but we're going to go back now, and I'm going to give you my top 10 list of, in my opinion, the 10 best NXT takeovers of all time. Of course, technically, NXT has had 26 pay-per-views. Of course, there is NXT Arrival, which was a takeover. But, of course, that didn't make the cut, though, for this list. But that was still an awesome show to watch as well. This was definitely a tough list put together because all these shows are really good. I can go on and go back and talk about most of these shows very, strongly again. They're still kind of refresh my memory as well. But I, of course, picked the ones that I thought were the 10 absolute best takeovers for sure to watch. And, of course, most of them I'd say I recommend going back and watch again. There's a few that, maybe they were all right, but could have been a little bit better, like TakeOver the End. I'd say that one, or Fatal 4-Way, maybe, in my opinion, may have been the weakest pay-per-view, in my opinion. Well, weakest NXT show for sure, but they were still good shows to watch. But of course, this is the 10 absolute best takeovers, in my opinion, of all time. And of course, we'll do what we used to do the first 5, then take a break, check the live chat, and then do the next set of 5. So we're going to do that. But first, let's check the live chat. And it's Tyler. What's up, Tyler? Saying he's playing The Simpsons Hit and Run. Nice. So let's get rolling here, guys. So, of course, I'll do this stream, and then I'm currently working on trying to get more and more of SS Wolfenstein 3 done again. It's a very short and brief mod. We'll get that one done, then move on to the next video game Let's Play as well. But, of course, I will not be doing much this weekend again because I'm going camping tomorrow, and I'm getting back late Saturday night. So again, I will have to wait till next week to catch Fight for the Fallen, but you will see me up here live tomorrow night. On Sunday night for Extreme Rules. So this, and then SS Wolf 3D for the rest of the night. So let's get rolling here, starting off with my number 10 for my 10 best NXT TakeOver shows of all time. Let's get to it. My number 10, NXT TakeOver War Games 2. Now, both War Games shows were very good. War Games 1 was, of course, was an excellent show. We had the first ever War Games match in NXT between the likes of Sanity, Office of Pain, and Roderick Strong teaming up, and the Undisputed Era making their pay-per-view, in-ring pay-per-view debut. Of course, we'll save that for another show. Of course, we also had the match that made Velveteen Dream a star, him and Aleister Black. Of course, we had that at the first NXT TakeOver. We also had Drew McIntyre becoming NXT champ. Andrade Cien Almas dethroning Drew McIntyre to become NXT champion. We also saw Ember Moon win the NXT Women's the vacated NXT Women's Championship. We had one other match. I'm trying to remember which match that was that I'm missing here. Crap! I forgot off the top of my head. I feel like I'm a prisoner now. But anyways, that's just an honorable match. Of course, TakeOver War Games 1. TakeOver War Games 2 had some really great moments. And yes, I do kind of agree. I kind of like the first War Games a little bit better than the first War Games match better than the second match. But the show as a whole was just amazing. We had the War Games match again, which is still again great. Of course, our best memory of that for sure was the double moonsault by Ricochet off of the top of the steel cage to take out everyone else. And of course, eventually, well, again, another problem I think with the second War Games match was Pete Dunne was in it, but unfortunately, he was dealing with a nagging injury at the time, so he was a little bit limited while he was in the match. He was not limitless, basically, if you're making the Keith Lee reference. But of course, we also had Matt Riddle knock out Cassius Ohno in 6 seconds, like he did, which is bold. We had a 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT Women's Championship between Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler. That was some good drama there. We, of course, also had 2 match of the year candidates, in my opinion. Tommaso Ciampa and the Velveteen Dream for the NXT Championship put on just an unreal classic, as I gotta say for sure. Some of the crazy near falls and the mind games these two were playing each other was amazing. Again, still that near fall that really gets me to this day. I still can't believe Tommaso Ciampa kicked out of was when Dream hit the Dream Valley Driver on Ciampa and then and that was on the floor outside the ring, and then he rolls Ciampa into the ring and immediately then hits the purple rainmaker on Tommaso Ciampa. Somehow he's still kicked out, and it's like just when like Velveteen Dream had it right in the palm of his hands. Boom! Tommaso Ciampa hits the draping DDT out of nowhere onto the steel in between the 2 rings to get the win. That was an amazing match. And of course, we also have Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano. Why, Johnny, why? The build to the Who Attacked Aleister Black storyline leading to that amazing classic. Definitely one of Aleister Black's best matches in NXT. I mean, Johnny Gargano, yes, he put on how many classics? I can't tell you which one to me I thought was his best one, but that was still a great performance by him as well. Of course, my favorite part was at the end, when Black hit one black mass on him, and then Johnny just falls right into Aleister's chest, but Aleister picks him up the stairs at him in the face and says, "I absolve you of your sins." Bam! A second black mass to get the win. It was just a great physical match that I knew these two could put on the absolute classic they did, and it was amazing. And to me, it's one of the best takeovers of all time for sure, as statements were made for sure on this show. As my number 10 is TakeOver War Games 2. But War Games 1, another really strong match. And again, I can't believe I forgot I can't believe I forgot the opening match to TakeOver War Games 1. Oh, I'm sorry. It was Cassius Ohno and Lars Sullivan, which wasn't a bad big man match. I forgot about that match. That was what I forgot for War Games 1. But yeah, so we got that one. My number 9. Now, it was tough because this was also has had 2 events take place here, and I couldn't decide which one I liked better. It was tough. But I end up going with NXT TakeOver Chicago 2. Now, Chicago 1, I remember going into that show thinking, it was going to feel like, how NXT TakeOver The End felt the year before. Just like an extra takeover, just, get on the card and, just get some attention. But that show, again, surpassed for real. Again, we had a great, we had the women's triple threat match with Asuka, Ruby Riott with 1T, and Nikki Cross. We had that opener with Roderick Strong and Eric Young. We had the classic match of the year with Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne for the United Kingdom Championship. That was just absolute amazing. But of course, we also had the match with Bobby Roode and Hideo Itami for the anti-title, and of course the tag title ladder match that main evented led to the big heel turn from Tommaso Ciampa. But that was a show that, felt didn't have the longest build and the strongest build to it. It was still a good build, but not the strongest. It was kind of like it was just thrown together, but it definitely overreceived expectations. But TakeOver Chicago 2, if it was a little more anticipated, and I feel like that this show could definitely be a lot more higher ranked if there may be some like other moments other than just just championship matches where everybody was retaining and just a couple more moments in this. But this was still a great show. We had the Undisputed Era taking on Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, or as they call it at the time, Daniel Burch. The Undisputed Era, I think it was either Adam Cole or maybe Roddy called him Daniel Burch. They had a great, and again, until this past week, whenever Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch had that great tag match against the Street Profits on last night, I'll say yesterday night. Yeah, last night it was. This I thought was definitely their next best match. And of course, it's one of those matches where the Undisputed Era basically already won the crowd over. Lorcan and Burch was still kind of like that extra tag team that was there that people didn't really see them doing much besides NXT. But they definitely earned, I think, more of the fans' respect for sure after that match. That was definitely fun to watch as well. We also had a great match, not as good as I had hoped for, but still a great match with Ricochet and Velveteen Dream. That was definitely a great match that I definitely had high expectations for. Shayna Baszler took on Nikki Cross, probably was the weakest match of the card, but it was still, great. There's a simple story there of Nikki Cross enjoying the pain, smiling as she passed out, of course. We also had Aleister Black taking on Lars Sullivan. Not a bad match, except for the little botch towards the end with the black masses on Lars Sullivan, but still a good match. I definitely, thought, the story played well into it and it put over Aleister Black very well as NXT champion. And of course, the main event, which was my match of the year in 2018, Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa in a Chicago street fight. Again, I really felt these two needed to have another match in Chicago, as it would play well into their story. Again, Johnny had lost his career and whatnot thanks to Ciampa, but he earned it back. But as soon as he came back, it's like, well, as long as you're still here, I make your life a living hell while I can, basically. And Ciampa was just like torturing Gargano again. This was a physical, all-out brawl all over the arena. Again, my favorite part of the match was whenever they were like kind of walking up the ramp, and like Ciampa's like, "We were best friends, right?" Blah blah blah, all that stuff, and eventually led to them kind of reenacting the heel turn from the previous year, slamming Gargano into the stage and whatever. And then Gargano turned the tables on Ciampa instead of the table before all of that. He even took off Johnny's wedding ring, spit on it, and threw it into the crowd. And even though Ciampa was being taken out on a stretcher, Johnny really just wanted to kill the guy after doing that. He literally set Johnny off the deep end, like slowly having Johnny Gargano become Tommaso Ciampa himself. And eventually, again, costed him the win, as he literally handcuffed Ciampa. Literally, again, sent Ciampa to hell. He literally sent Tommaso Ciampa to hell on like that last portion of the match. But then, just like that, everything changed. Johnny had everything in the palm of his hands, but even while handcuffed, Tommaso Ciampa was able to pull off that miraculous win and beat Tommaso Ciampa. Beat Johnny Gargano, and literally sent Johnny Gargano to a big downward spiral as he was obsessing over being the one to put Tommaso Ciampa out for good. But that still was, again, an amazing match. Again, in my opinion, the best match they had, my match of the year in 2018, and it's one of the reasons why NXT TakeOver Chicago too. It could have been a little bit higher up on the list, but still, it was still, in my opinion, number 9 for the top 10 best NXT takeovers of all time. Number 8 is the oldest takeover to be on this list, in my opinion. NXT TakeOver R Evolution. Now, I know some of these matches on this show were not really, too well known. Like, we had a match with Baron Corbin and Ty Dillinger back when Baron Corbin was surprisingly a babyface, having his 30-second matches, taking people out left and right like he did. We also had a match featuring for the Women's Championship with Charlotte and Sasha Banks one-on-one. That was good. Of course, the title didn't change until the following pay-per-view at TakeOver Rival, whenever there was the fatal four-way between the 4 horsewomen. Again, Sasha Banks was probably the biggest, heel in the women's division at the time. Of course, Becky Lynch also kind of been siding with her as well. Or it was around this time that Becky turned heel and her and Sasha came in the alliance. We also had a tag match with Finn Balor and Hideo Itami taking on the Ascension. That was fun to introduce the Demon and Finn Balor. But, of course, the biggest story from TakeOver R Evolution was Kevin Owens. Just that great story of him finally getting to NXT. Like, after all of his other friends he had, wrestled on the indies with, Neville, Sami Zayn, a few others, had already made it. Well, also Finn Balor, I gotta say, had already made it to NXT long before he did. And he came in with a plan. First, he had a great, brief, 7-minute dominating debut match against CJ Parker to make him look good and get the crowd hot for him. And then his best friend, Sami Zayn, best friend of like 14 years or however long they've been best friends for, literally putting his whole career on the line, taking on Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship, who, again, Neville was starting to realize Sami Zayn as a threat to his NXT title. But, of course, at the time, Sami Zayn not ever come with, like, the big win. Him being charismatic and whatnot was always getting in the way, and his respect was always causing him to, not be able to capitalize on the big moments, such like that. And basically, it was like the story was told well. Obviously, if you're an NXT fan, at that point, if Sami Zayn did not succeed, would you really have, with the whole story of him being ultimate underdog really bad as good? No. They wait till the right moment to strike and make Sami Zayn look like, an ultimate, underdog hero, whatnot, when he defeated Neville in a great 25-minute main event it was. Afterwards, there was this long championship celebration. The whole locker room came out to, congratulate him. Adrian Neville congratulates Sami as well on the journey he did. Obviously, he was the hottest babyface in NXT. And then just like that, after everyone cleared away, again, before TakeOver Chicago 1, the 08 pay-per-view I can ever remember that actually held up, the graphic and according to the show was about to end, but go away, when Kevin Owens turned heel and took out Sami Zayn and basically started this whole story about how, Kevin Owens, once again, obviously just trying to, pick, do whatever he has to do to get to the top immediately. And he succeeded by literally just putting business in front of friendship and literally taking Sami Zayn's career and just pushing him out in the dust, running far down the road, basically, where Sami could not catch him at all. It was just the beginning of an amazing story of like a moment, again, literally when NXT was really starting to hit its strides and become the hotter, more well-known brand for sure. I mean, it started going on their live tours and whatnot in 2015, leading to, of course, their first pay-per-view outside of Full Sail University. But I gotta say, this was the beginning of the strongest days for sure for NXT to come, and that's why our evolution is my number 8 for top 10 NXT takeovers of all time. Got text, but I will wait until after. Number 7 on my top 10 NXT takeovers of all time is NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Last year, TakeOver Brooklyn 4 was, in my opinion, actually, all of Brooklyn's were strong shows. Even TakeOver Brooklyn 2 is great too, but that's the only one that is not on this list. But TakeOver Brooklyn 4, what I liked about it was there was a lot of, big moments in this show as well. We had a great rematch between the Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain for the NXT tag titles. Kind of wish we would have had a stipulation to it because they had a couple sets of matches already. We had a good match with Velveteen Dream and EC3, where, Velveteen Dream won because they were starting to awkwardly make EC3 a babyface. I felt it should have always been a heel. And then, of course, they were supposed to be calling EC3 up after SummerSlam, apparently, but a concussion is what set him back, and now look where he is on the main roster in catering, doing absolutely nothing except obviously being miserable, and I don't blame the guy. But we had 3 absolute classics, I gotta say. The first one was the NXT North American Championship match between Adam Cole and Ricochet. This was an amazing match. Adam Cole looked spectacular. Ricochet was just, needless I say, this or his match with Johnny Gargano at TakeOver Phoenix this year was definitely one of his best matches for sure. But that match, again, was just incredible. And again, my favorite spot this day for sure is still that spot where Ricochet was going for like a moonsault or whatnot. And while in the air on upside down, Adam Cole super kicked Ricochet and knocked him down from being up in midair. It was just a sick ass looking bump that I definitely will always remember for sure. That was a great moment there to give Ricochet the beginning of his run as the North American Champion, which we would hold from then until NXT TakeOver Phoenix when he dropped the title to Johnny Gargano. Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler had their first, besides they had one match on NXT. They had the Mae Young Classic Finals. This was the third match between these two. In a great meeting they had at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3, where, again, these two literally took the Mae Young Classic, added more of their characters into it, and literally just, had a dominating match of having, Shayna Baszler bringing out, the more vicious side of Kairi Sane. It was definitely a classic where Kairi Sane, of course, won the NXT Women's Championship. And then the main event with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa was great. The last man standing match, of course, that was supposed to be a triple threat match at first with Gargano, Ciampa, and Aleister Black. Of course, Aleister Black, that had that growing surgery, and that's what turned them to doing the story of who attacked Aleister Black. And but the match is still great. I'd say it was probably the weakest out of the three matches they had in 2018, only because, it didn't really feel that much different than the match they had at TakeOver Chicago with the Chicago Street. But it was still, the last man standing match was still an amazing match. Not going to, take away from it for sure, but definitely another one of the best takeovers of all time. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. Move on now to my number 6 on this list. TakeOver Brooklyn 4 was number 7. Number 6, TakeOver Brooklyn 3. I think this was my pay-per-view of the NXT TakeOver of the year in 2017. This show was great. We had a great opener with Johnny Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas. Again, just a match I thought was just to get Johnny Gargano on the card, as it was his first match as a single star since him and Tommaso Ciampa split. But again, it was at the start to an amazing feud that really not just, helped the storyline of Gargano and Ciampa, but really helped elevate Andrade Cien Almas as well. An amazing opener, of course, not as good as their best match for sure was their NXT Championship match to take over Philadelphia in 2018. We had that. We had a great physical match, a tag team match between Sandy and Authors of Pain. And, of course, after the match, we had a great 2-on-5, beatdown as, again, Undisputed Era's Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish debuted. Well, they already made their singles debuts in the weeks beforehand, but this is them debuting as a tag team, literally taking out everyone in sight. Okay, those two guys were taking out 5 of the biggest men on the roster. And they were doing it by themselves, looking vicious and whatnot, not being freaking cowardly heels. They literally just killed everyone in just a matter of a few seconds. It was amazing. It was just awesome. We had a great hard-hitting match with Hideo Itami and Aleister Black. We also had the women's match of the year, Asuka's final match in NXT, where she defended her women's championship against Ember Moon in that long-awaited rematch ever since Asuka finally realized that Ember Moon was the biggest threat to her undefeated streak and her championship, and took a shortcut out at TakeOver Orlando, and she literally took out Ember Moon for TakeOver Chicago. And the rematch probably happened. It was just a flat-out awesome match for sure. Definitely making Ember Moon in a loss to look a champion as well. Amazing. The main event with Bobby Roode and Drew McIntyre probably was one of the weakest main events I've ever seen in NXT history, I gotta say. But, it still gave Drew McIntyre at the beginning of his brief run of the NXT Championship. But afterwards, O'Reilly and Fish returned at ringside. And, of course, it was well anticipated once you saw them coming out. It's like, where is he? Where is he? Adam Cole made his NXT debut, coming in and beating down on Drew McIntyre, holding the NXT Championship as the Undisputed Era had arrived to NXT. Literally, don't care what people says, they're taking over that whole show, and that is exactly what they did. As, of course, Adam Cole is now at top of the NXT brand with the NXT title. Now all that's left for them to do is get the tag titles and the North American Championship, and those 4 men will be draped in gold. But that, of course, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3, the arrival of the Undisputed Era. As that was, again, my pay-per-view of the year in 2017, and it is the best NXT, the number 6 for NXT TakeOvers of all time. Is TakeOver Brooklyn 3. So far, we got number 10 at NXT War Games 2. Number 9 is TakeOver Chicago 2. Number 8 is Our Evolution. Number 7 is Brooklyn 4. Number 6 is Brooklyn 3. Let's check the live chat and see what we got here. We got some stuff from Tyler and Robbie. And we got Najee Madine, if that's who as you pronounce your name. If I mispronounce, I'm sorry, but thank you for a lot of chat. Robbie, of course, going, show's called TakeOver, right? But TakeOver San Antonio, where Seth Rollins invaded TakeOver San Antonio. Tyler still calling Sunday crappy rules. Yeah, Lars Sullivan and Cassius Ohno was the opener for War Games 1. Thanks for reminding me. Ciampa and Dream for the NXT title was great and very underrated, definitely. But Black and Gargano, my God, what AJ incredible hard-hitting battle that was, for sure. That was amazing. Sadly, on that night, though, Dream wasn't, well, tough enough. Still love that line. And enjoy your infamy, Velveteen Dream. What about Fortnite? I don't really play Fortnite, but I because I don't really own anything better than a PS2 right now. But I've tried before. It's not a bad game for sure. Of course, Pizza, in the words of Walter. We'll be talking about that match in a little bit. What is worse, Sting's heel turn in '99 or AJ Styles in 2019? I can't really judge Sting's heel turn in '99 because I've never seen it, but thanks for asking, though. The good old days of Nikki Cross and NXT when she loved pain and wasn't playing Gossip Girl with Alexa Bliss. Oh, yeah. Again, like especially when she was in the feud with Shayna Baszler, TakeOver Chicago too. Again, that was Nikki Cross definitely having some of her best material. Or not, I'm sorry, not just that, but during the whole who attacked Aleister Black storyline. I know. Okay, I'm getting a little creepy now. Anyways, but yeah, that's definitely one of the best as well. Let's see here. Of course, I'm right here. Johnny Gargano being revealed to be the one to attack Aleister Black. Do you think Asuka versus Ember was the female version of Neville versus Zayn leading into our Evolution? Honestly, yes. I mean, I know the results weren't the same as, Ember Moon still couldn't beat Asuka, but, the similar build and whatnot, I gotta say yes. It definitely felt like similar. Now you say that yes. TakeOver rival, death by powerbomb. Yes, because once again, it took Kevin Owens literally, smashing every last breath out of Sami Zayn to beat him. Didn't have to pin him or submit him. Literally just had to beat the holy shit out of him for it to happen. Brooklyn 4 was the real SummerSlam last year for sure. And SummerSlam itself last year honestly was not that bad either. I did enjoy last year's SummerSlam, but yeah, TakeOver Brooklyn 4 still definitely was better. For sure. Adam Cole's super kick spot on Ricochet. Enough said for sure. Yeah, SummerSlam was great last year. Tyler said, while the weakest of their matches, Ciampa Gargano 3 was still awesome. Once again, Johnny Cesaro destroyed Ciampa, caught up to him again. Yeah, they had that weird ending where Gargano tripped over a bunch of those road case or something like that, hurt his knee or something like that. It was strange, but it was still a great match again. But I just felt it wasn't much different from the Chicago street fight, but it was still great. Ciampa always got one over on Gargano throughout the feud. Exactly. Remember, TakeOver Fatal 4-Way had a hair versus hair match. Oh, Enzo Amore and Sylvester LaFon. I'm sorry, that was a little goofy. I wasn't really the biggest fan of that when I watched TakeOver Fatal 4-Way. Yeah, I don't know. Something about that didn't quite sit with me. I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but yeah, I forgot about that. But what champion reigns is worse? Brock Lesnar's Universal Championship or his WWE Championship reign? Universal Championship reign for sure. At least when he was WWE World Heavyweight Champion in 2014, it was at a time where the iron was kind of hot for Brock Lesnar. Over just defeating the streak and whatnot, he was kind of a fresh name being in the title picture. And I knew they're probably just keep having a title be kept on him just till WrestleMania 31 for Roman Reigns at the time. And at the time, even though they tried to push Roman at the wrong time when it should have been Daniel Bryan reclaiming his goal at WrestleMania 31. I was okay with Lesnar at the time being champion, even though once again he was a part-time champion. I wasn't a big fan of that, but I was all right with it with that first run. But that Universal Championship run, no, way too long. And once again, it happened with also with a freak moment of putting the Universal Championship randomly on Goldberg. Again, the Lesnar and Goldberg feud did not need a championship involved, but whatever. That feud introduced Carmella on NXT TV. That's right, it did. With the Enzo and Sylvester LaFon. And I don't need friends. Hashtag Dark EO. That is a fact. But yep, we're going to keep moving on, guys. Do the top 5 NXT takeovers of all time next. Start off with number 5, the one that just took place, NXT TakeOver 25. Now, I feel like this definitely could have been a little bit higher up on the list. I guess the reason why I didn't quite give it the grade as much as it did, because I felt like it could have had maybe one more thing to the show, kind of celebrating anniversary. And of course, I still think that should have been Sasha Banks and Bayley defending those women's tag titles at TakeOver 25. Would have been perfect for an anniversary show like this. It would have been perfect. And I think just that alone could have made it a classic. I mean, yes, having Tyler Breeze on the show, of course, he's back in NXT full time again, was kind of special having an NXT alumnus, but maybe one more NXT alumnus be on the show would have made it feel even more special. But this was an excellent show, TakeOver 25. Of course, also, I just addressed it again. I heard on Rudy that apparently the only reason why they dropped the titles from Sasha and Bayley at WrestleMania was because they put them on the Iconics. They were planning on doing a feud with the Iconics and the Bellas. I mean, the Bellas were heel at this time, because they turned heel on Ronda Rousey back in October last year before Evolution. They could have had, them take on Sasha and Bayley like a B pay-per-view or something like that. But once again, it is what it is. Nothing we can do about it. But anyways, well, of course, that got scrapped because of Nikki's retirement. But anyways, TakeOver 25, amazing show. We opened up with a very great, underrated, hard-hitting match with Matt Riddle and Roderick Strong again. Kind of just, even though Roddy lost, starting to focus him more on being, a single star again. Even though he's still with the era, giving him momentum again as a single star, allowing him to be him again, and not, just completely, taking the Undisputed Era's, move set on him as well, showing off, what he's able to do and being the Messiah, the backbreaker again. But again, him and Riddle had an amazing opening match. That classic, as of now, my tag team match of the year, that ladder match with the Street Profits, Undisputed Era's O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. I don't know how Kyle O'Reilly didn't die in that match. Forgotten Sons had a good showing, and Oney Walker and Danny Burch in that amazing fatal 4-way ladder match would have vacated tag titles as the formerly War Raiders, now Viking Raiders, relinquished them after going up to the main roster after beating everybody, as the way Dean Ambrose said, everybody, in his podcast. I'm sorry, that's John Moxley, not Dean Ambrose. We had that match. We had again, a great character style North American title match between Velveteen Dream and Tyler Breeze. Remind us once again that, yes, Tyler Breeze is a superstar. We had a good match with Shayna Baszler and Io Shirai. This is when Io Shirai was starting, snap and, become more vicious, but of course not be heel, but take it out on Shayna Baszler until she's gone full on heel. Dark Io, dark sexy Io. I'm sorry, what did I say? Io sexy now? I'm sorry, what did I say? Never mind. All right, moving on. But that, of course, that main event match, Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole again. That match to me felt like, although I wouldn't say, of course, it hit the level of, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker WrestleMania 25. It had that feeling to it. It was just a singles match, no stipulation to it. That was just two of the best wrestlers in there putting on an instant classic, literally showing they literally had to, not just one of their finishers was going to put them down. These guys literally had to beat the hell out of each other, literally use their finishers multiple times just to put them down, especially for Johnny Gargano. Literally, the match was Johnny Gargano had 10 lives in this match, basically. And it was an amazing show. And again, if they would have had maybe one more alumnus on this show, again, preferably the women's tag titles with Sasha and Bayley defending against I don't know. I mean, Io Shirai had a match. I don't think Duke and Shafir would have been ready for a tag title match, but at least maybe against even a Leah and Vanessa Bourne probably would have taken just to put over Sasha and Bayley, give them a tag title defense, and just give them a spotlight on this 25th anniversary show of the NXT takeovers. But still, one of the best NXT takeovers at number 5. Number 4, also what happened right before TakeOver 25, NXT TakeOver New York. A magical night full of some magical moments as 5 championships were on the line in this match. We first opened up with a great tag title match with the War Raiders defending against Aleister Black and Ricochet, the winners of the 2019 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And it was also Aleister Black and Ricochet's swan song as well. It was an amazing match for sure. As of course, they would just come up short, but of course, they still put on an amazing performance. We had the Velveteen Dream take on Matt Riddle, which originally that was supposed to be a triple threat match, but then once Tommaso Ciampa got injured, Adam Cole got moved to the NXT Championship match instead. But I thought these two put on a really great performance, hard-hitting performance as well. Making Riddle look very strong in a loss, just coming up short to the Velveteen Dream. Of course, afterwards doing a bro fist and whatnot with each other. The UK title match, Pete Dunne and Walter. Amazing stuff. Again, it kind of reminded me of End of an Era, except without the cell, and of course not as good, but it was still amazing. Literally, these two beating the hell out of each other. As again, it was the end to the 685-day title reign for Pete Dunne, United Kingdom champion, and passing it on to Walter, who has now gone on to literally take over the whole division, forming Imperium with Fabian Eichner, Marcel Barthel, and Alexander Wolf. That was great. We had the Fatal 4-Way Women's Championship match with Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kairi Sane, which I think would be Kairi Sane's last match in NXT. It was a great match, definitely with a bunch of drama going on as well, especially with testing the friendship between Kairi Sane and Io Shirai a couple times, and them constantly trying to change it. That was amazing. That was back in times when Io Shirai was like, my best friend, my best friend, my best friend. Now, once again, she's like, I don't need friends, and I don't need any of you. Which, again, looking stone-faced, no emotions, basically. But that was great. And, of course, the main event, the 2 out of 3 falls match for the vacated NXT Championship, Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. Again, this is supposed to be Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, but Ciampa got injured with that neck injury right before TakeOver New York, which again, they were trying to at least get it through there before getting his neck taken care of. But once again, they exposed him on the main roster. I don't get why they knew he had a neck injury, why they gave him time on the main roster. Still don't get it, but yeah, I like how the first 2 falls didn't feel like it felt like just a regular match on NXT. But then the journey to that third fall again was just amazing, and even of course the era got involved. To me, I really the biggest turning point I thought was when Adam Cole was basically playing the role of Tommaso Ciampa. He hit the freaking fairy tale ending on Johnny Gargano on the on the table on an announce table, and literally once again it was shown that Johnny Gargano has how many lives. He kicked out of his that Hurricanrana, that Panama, whatever. Adam Cole calls it maneuver. He calls it that reverse Hurricanrana. He kicked out how many times? He kicked out the last shot like 2 or 3 times. I gotta say as well. Like literally again, the journey to that third fall alone was a classic. I mean, the build to the first 2 falls I thought were all right. So just a regular match on NXT, but that classic moment of Johnny Gargano literally showed he was going through hell one last time just to finally get up to the top and have his moment. But of course, after Johnny won the match, afterwards, Ciampa came out with the neck brace on. He embraced Johnny. So I was wondering, was that meant to happen? Was Johnny meant to basically win the war, and Ciampa was going to basically, forgive him. They're going to make up and whatever stuff. I don't know, but amazing moment. Johnny finally got to the top. So many moments on the show, and definitely worthy of my number 4 spot for the top 10 NXT takeovers of all time. Let's get to the top 3 now. As my number 3, the first ever takeover I watched since watching NXT full time. NXT TakeOver Dallas 2016. Man, as I've always said in any show I've talked about this show, this blew WrestleMania 32 out of the water. It took place, of course, the Friday before WrestleMania. This is the first NXT TakeOver actually to take place on WrestleMania weekend, as they were starting to have all the takeovers take place the same weekends as the Big 4 shows, or Big 5s for the most part. But of course, you see on the 24 special, Triple H go back and saying to everybody, "You bastards. I meant push the main roster, not, make it impossible for us to outdo." And you're sure as hell right, because they could not outdo it at WrestleMania 32 for sure. WrestleMania 32 is mediocre. But man, this is an amazing show. To the great opening tag match with American Alpha win a tag titles off the Revival in an amazing match. The weakest match on the card was definitely Baron Corbin and Austin Aries. It was what it was, but it was still a fun match for sure. It was what was put over Austin Aries, I felt, to that classic match of the year. Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura's debut, Sami Zayn's swan song. That was just, again, amazing storytelling there, whatnot. An emotional moment as Sami Zayn was taking his final bow in NXT. We also got the women's championship match, Asuka and Bayley. Again, this was when Asuka first dethroned Bayley in that amazing match that literally showed that Asuka had to do anything she could do to get the title off of Bayley by getting her, of course, to pass out to the Asuka lock, not be pinned and not tap out, but pass out to the Asuka lock, which was absolutely amazing to see. Of course, the main event with Samoa Joe and Finn Balor as well. The second match between these two I thought was amazing as well. But just a magical night. Again, especially this show will be most remembered for sure for Nakamura's debut. Again, if you did not know who Shinsuke Nakamura was for this match, you sure as hell found out at the end of this match. Sure, this guy came in like a god and whatnot, and it was just unbelievable. Great stuff, great show, and to me, the number 3 NXT TakeOver of all time. Number 2 was the first biggest show for NXT. It was the first one to take place outside of Full Sail University. And once again, even though we got there late, I witnessed the second half of this show live in person. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1. Now, of course, not all matches, again, were, the most memorable stuff in the world. But we still had some great matches, such as an opener with Tyler Breeze taking on Jushin Thunder Liger. Having I didn't realize again that Liger was like 50 years old when this match happened. I didn't think he was that old, but they put on a great match for sure, as it was one of Tyler Breeze's last matches in NXT. Well, I'm sorry, no, his last match at TakeOver Respect against Apollo Crews, who also made his NXT in-ring debut. Again, it was on his birthday at TakeOver Brooklyn 1. Put on a match, just put him over against Ty Dillinger. That was what it had to be, to a good tag title match between the Vaudevillains and Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake. Still felt though that I agree with this too. This should have been Enzo and Cass's moment, and I completely do agree for sure. But still a good match between these two. The second half of the show, the parts I saw, Samoa Joe and Baron Corbin put on a pretty good big man match. Of course, I'll get to it now. The amazing classic between Bayley and Sasha Banks. I talked about how many times I still feel that maybe the best women's match ever, to, of course, the ending of that match, being the 4 horsewoman curtain call for sure, as 3 of them were getting ready to go up to the main roster. Well, Sasha Banks had some unfinished business, of course. She stuck around for one more show for TakeOver Respect, where they had the Iron Woman match. Of course, this led also to Sasha and Bayley getting the main event, the next TakeOver show. And, of course, the great main event, the ladder match between Finn Balor and Kevin Owens, a match that was following, an act that was tough to beat. Still put on a great performance, and the crowd was into it. Of course, that was Kevin Owens' swan song, as well, as he's getting ready to head to the main roster full time as well. But again, this amazing show, top to bottom, making a huge statement for NXT. The first show, again, outside of Full Sail University. It sold out. It was amazing. And then, even though I didn't get to be here for the whole show, because again, we ran late, but just being there live for this show just felt very special. And I definitely hope that someday again be live for another NXT TakeOver recommend. NXT TakeOver Pittsburgh, anybody? Just kidding. We'll see. Maybe, who knows, someday. But that is, again, my number 2. My number 1 for top 10 NXT TakeOvers of all time, to me, no doubt about it, it's NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Amazing show. So many amazing moments. And a lot of things this show is going to be remembered for. Starting off with that opener. That amazing classic of a 6-man ladder match for the debuting NXT North American Championship. This was like, like a stacked match with guys who had already made names for themselves to guys who were just coming in, getting ready to make names for themselves. It was filled with guys like Adam Cole, who won the match, put on a great performance. Velveteen Dream, who obviously again became a huge star. He was amazing. Lars Sullivan literally tore everyone apart in this match. Killian Dane was a beast in this match, the Beast of Belfast. And of course, the two, stars who it was their first match, EC3 looked great, and Ricochet as well had amazing performances. That was an amazing opening match. Again, one of the best matches of 2018 for sure. One of the best NXT matches of all time. We had that match. The second match on this card. Wow, I drew a complete blank here for a second. Not the tag title match. Come on, Mike. Don't forget it. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back to me. Okay. No, the women's match was second. I'm sorry. The women's championship match was second, the weakest match of the card, but it's when Shayna Baszler dethroned Ember Moon. Still a great match, though. It was a great showing for sure. A great way, and also a swan song for Ember Moon as well. As, of course, she would drop the title and go up to Raw the following week after WrestleMania 34. But then we had the tag title match. Again, it was a little weird because, again, the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic was on the line because, the Undisputed Era interfered in the championship match, so they gave both teams a shot, and then the winner become, whereas the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic is kind of weird since Undisputed Era was never in it, but it was still a great match. And, of course, the shocker of Roderick Strong turning heel, turning on his partner Pete Dunne, helping the Undisputed Era win because, of course, the story going to this match was Bobby Fish was injured. He was injured, so Adam Cole had to pull double duty that night. So they kind of took out Adam Cole during the match, and then Roderick Strong shocked the system and joined the Undisputed Era. That was amazing, though. Still amazing moment there. Pulled off very good there. We had a great NXT title match with Aleister Black and Andrade Cien Almas, which would be Almas' final match. Oh, I'm sorry. His final match in NXT, but the final showing from them was a couple weeks later when Candice LeRae took on Zelina Vega in the match. But that was amazing. Of course, that grueling, emotional roller coaster ride of the non-sanctioned match of a main event with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, where a win would allow Johnny Gargano to win his career back, and that's why it was unsanctioned. And it was a long match that we've been waiting for for 322 days, and it finally came true. And it was an amazing night. Bunch of amazing moments etched in NXT history, and that's why, to me, NXT TakeOver New Orleans is the #1 NXT TakeOver of all time. So read through this list one more time. Sorry, not two more times. One more time, and then we'll be wrapping up the NXT Top 10 specials for this channel and whatnot, because next week we'll start doing some other top 10 specials as well. If you guys give me a lot of great suggestions, I'll definitely have to pick a new topic. So again, my top 10 NXT takeovers of all time. Number 10 is NXT TakeOver War Games 2. Number 9 is TakeOver Chicago 2. Number 8 is TakeOver Our Evolution. Number 7 is TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Number 6 is Brooklyn 3. Number 5 is TakeOver 25. Number 4 is TakeOver New York. Number 3 is TakeOver Dallas. Number 2 is TakeOver Brooklyn 1. And number 1 is TakeOver New Orleans. Let's check the live chat, guys, and then we're out of here. Let's see what we got here. Where do we got here? What do we got? Or what was worse? Booker T's World Championship in 2006 with Daniel Bryan's WWE Championship reigns in 2013 and 2018. Those all weren't bad reigns, in my opinion. But of course, think whatever you want, Tyler, that's your opinion. But those weren't too bad, in my opinion. But they were all good, I thought. Finn Balor versus Adrian Neville TakeOver Revival was so underrated. Great match that further catapulted Balor to superstardom in NXT. Definitely, for sure, I gotta agree that was a great match. Kind of like a little bit like a passing on moment, basically. I think that was Neville's last TakeOver match, I think. Let's not forget Becky and Sasha's class from Unstoppable. Oh, yes, for sure. That was also a great show, too. Mike, you only wanted to see Aaliyah face Sasha Banks and Bayley at TakeOver 25 just so you can see her in the black leather. All good, man. Ha ha. Well, I mean, I always said that because I'm trying to think of like a tag team that actually would have reasonably been able to take on them or at least put them over in some ways. I would think that maybe, of course, they were going to be defending the tag titles all brands. Eventually, they would be dropping them to Jessica Duca and Marina Shafir once they're ready. But okay, come on, yes, I want to see Aaliyah in that black leather again. That was hot, very hot for sure. Pete Dunne versus Walter, nothing short of brutal for sure. Walter damn near killed Dunne in that ending sequence. Oh yes, definitely for sure. As he's literally again like the British Brock Lesnar, basically, except the fact that I actually do like Walter. He actually defends the championship and shows up and doesn't have like dragged out get off my TV type moments. And where there's him go like the boombox crap was so stupid. I will pop if Io is asked to do an interview during her heel giving and she goes, "Sorry, no speak English." Or sorry, like more like since she says, "I don't need friends," or "I don't speak English." It would be more so for her, but I would love that. Yes, Johnny 9 Lives. What if AJ stayed on SmackDown and beat Kofi at SummerSlam 2019? Guess to be okay with that. The Great American Trash is Wrestling Rampage's Tommy Seed. Oh yeah, the Great American Bash. Triple H should be in charge. Joe should be WWE champion if he's on SmackDown still. Agree, definitely deserves a run with the world title. Vince, get over your ego for sure. WWE champion at last year's SummerSlam with AJ and Joe was awesome. Oh, that match was amazing. Hey Wendy, I see you brought Annie here, just so you know. Daddy's coming home, and AJ just snapped. Awesome stuff for sure. Joe and Styles should main event SummerSlam, not Brock and Roman. It should have been the 5th match. Could have worked, yes, or the first match. Best and worst pay-per-view endings, which that might be a good one for next week. But again, we'll see. Again, I'll definitely come up with the list for sure. Which ones I was come up with the best one first. But that's definitely a great suggestion. Tyler definitely has been given to me, and maybe I will, do that one very soon. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for my top 10 NXT takeovers of all time. Again, thank you guys for joining me live for these NXT special top 10 specials. But of course, back to other stuff next week as well. Again, maybe that pay-per-view ending one that Tyler suggested me. I'll do that next week. We will see. But yeah, guys, so once again, guys, to explain the agenda for our next coming days. So the rest of this night, I'm going to be playing SS Wolfenstein 3. Just a brief, easy mod. Probably going to get a huge chunk of it done tonight because I'm going camping tomorrow and Saturday. So once again, Fighter Fest, I will get to watch. I mean, Fighter Fest is past. Fight for the Fallen, I will be able to watch, but not until sometime next week. That's when that will take place. We got that. Of course, I will be doing a live review on Sunday for Extreme Rules. But I will be going over to Dan Guys' house to watch it. So I might actually be doing a live review on his channel with him first, but then I will do my own live review on this channel as well. But so yeah, if you want to check out his channel to be able to watch that live review, go right ahead, guys. Yeah, again, next week, of course, Raw, SmackDown, 205 Live, NXT UK, NXT reviews. And, of course, next week, I'm going to try to also get my SummerSlam and NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff reviews as well. And, again, I'm working on SS Wolfenstein 3D. It's only a 10-map mod. That's my next video game let's play as well. So, of course, get back into video games. And then soon, again, I will do another retro review series or some type of, like, a review series again. As I definitely want to do reviews on, like, some of these documentary, series on the network, such as, again, like the 24 specials. I want to do retro reviews for. I want to say retro, but I want to do reviews on those. I want to do reviews on like the 365 specials, even like the Chronicle stuff as well. I want to do retro reviews for. But all the time, guys, just to lay out some things upcoming. But yeah, guys, so that's it. I'm going to check out once again, guys. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below where your favorite takeovers of all time. Slap a like on my video. Subscribe or comment to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirBrand93 and also check out my Wrestling Experience documentary as well. And with that, guys, I will see you all later. So until then, guys, have a great weekend. Have a rest of your night. I'll have a blast camping. I'll be coming back, of course, on Sunday to do my Extreme Rules live review. So until then, guys, have a great rest of your night. And peace out, everybody.